What up? It's your boy Dayton back at it again with another episode of the Unbiased Sports Fan Podcast. Today we got our boy TG back on to get his thoughts about the Big Ten and see who can take home the championship in the most dominant league in college football. But first, welcome back, TG.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be here. Excited to talk ball in the second best conference in college football.
Anyways, so I got an announcement. I'm no longer going to be doing this by myself. TG is coming along, and it's going to be our podcast together. When I first started this, I wanted to bring on multiple people, but it's just tough with people's schedules and trying to get everything lined up and videos out consistently, certain days, certain times. It just wasn't working out for me. So, TG, I appreciate you. I'm super pumped about this. We're going to be doing 2 episodes a week for college football and then college basketball as well. We might throw in a little few episodes here and there for NFL football or like major sporting events, but it's going to be mostly focused on college football and college basketball. And we're stoked about it because that's what we know best. But TG, I appreciate you again. I'm pumped about it. I hope you are.
I'm excited. Can't wait. Ready to talk ball. Ready to get into it. We're 10 days away from week 0. So this is like week 0. High school football starts, but we're so close to college football, and we can't wait to kick it off.
Yeah, and a lot of talk in the summer camp, the fall camps going on. But the way we're going to try to do this is we're going to try to do, or we will do this, is we're going to be, we're both all in here. So we're going to have consistent episodes coming out. We're going to have a prediction episode. Probably it'll come out Thursday or Friday. And then after the weekend, we'll have the recap episode. So we'll have pretty much 2 episodes coming out each week. We're 100% in on that to give all of our fans what they want. We know that. And it's the 2 number 1 ball knowers here on the planet. I can promise you that. But TG, let's get into it. Also, fun fact, I met TG, I don't know if I said this before, playing football in college at Brevard College. Go Tornadoes. A D2 school there. It was a D2 school at the time. So we know some ball. But let's get in. It's a Big Ten episode, but we're going to kind of go over the top 25 since the AP poll just came out and just hit on that a little bit. We're not going to spend too much time on it, but TG, if you want to start it off.
Yeah, I mean, jumping straight into the AP poll, 1 through 5, Ohio State at 1, Oregon, Georgia, Notre Dame, Texas. First thing that pops out is where's the previous national champion, the first team to go 16-0 in the modern era. They're sitting at number 6. And then the team that they beat in the national championship is sitting at 7. So I think a lot of people got some question marks there. But looking at it, there's not a ton of things.
I'm going to touch on something real quick about that. The Indiana thing, I keep hearing that from everyone, but like, I feel like you could say that back 5 years ago, but now it's like, I know a lot of people are upset that defending national champs are number 1, blah, blah, blah. But in today's football, with the amount of transfers that teams get, and then you have some players coming back for like 5th and 6th years, I don't think you can just automatically rank them number 1. That's just how today's football is. It's a new season. They're by far different than last year. Not by far, but they're different than last year. There's other teams that brought more people back. Like we're going to touch on Oregon a little bit. But Ohio State, man, they lost their whole defense. I don't know how they're number 1. I personally think Oregon should have been number 1, but
Yeah, I agree with you there. The one thing that sticks out to me with all the teams at the top, or the first 2 teams, Ohio State and Oregon, changing coordinators.
yeah.
And yes, I'm with you, and I agree that pre-NIL, not even pre-portal, but pre-NIL, the changes of 1 through, those top tier teams, it didn't change as much from the year before because you had depth. Now you don't have depth anymore. But Indiana, they keep the same OC, the same DC, that whole staff stays intact. They still do a good job in the portal. Um, and Kurt Signetti, I mean, Google me Signetti is going out there and he's letting people know, right? I
Yeah,
just I don't have an issue with the top teams because I do, but like if for instance Indiana was sitting at 3 or 4, it would have just felt more normal. But to your point, it's just people out there ranting and raving. Um,
they don't
but the
know what they're
good news
doing really.
is all of the preseason AP polls and coaches polls mean absolutely nothing. When
Right.
that ball is kicked off, all that stuff goes out the window.
Dude, I think I saw a stat. It's only been twice a number one team pre AP poll preseason has
Yep.
like one. It's only they've only won it twice in like so many years, which is
Yep.
crazy. But
It's since 2000. The only two teams to win it was USC in '04 and Bama in 2017.
that's right.
Look at last year. Texas was preseason number one, didn't make a 12-team playoff. Right. The year
Penn State was
before,
what, three
Penn
or
State was
something? Penn
top
State was
three.
up
Yeah,
there,
they were 3 or 4.
unranked.
The year prior, Georgia was number one, and it was the year that they lost to Bama in the SEC championship, and they didn't make a playoff. So it's now with 12, you expect a little bit more, but as we get into it, we'll talk about conference schedules, conference games, how tough. We've already talked SEC ball schedules, but we're going to talk about how tough the Big Ten is too.
Yep. And then Clemson finally they put them out.
Yeah, they made the
Finally
coaches
put them out.
poll at 23, but they didn't make the AP poll.
Everybody just loves Dabo too much, man. That
That's
coach
it.
is
That's
just
it.
it's I'm surprised they didn't get in at like 25 or something. They're 26. They're like way more
They
votes than anyone else at number 26.
they were. I think it was Missouri had like 115 or something, and Clemson
Yeah.
had 112.
Yeah, 112.
Um, yeah. I'm with you on that. It was interesting to see like last year the hype with Florida being ranked like 14th, and everyone was like, "Whoa, like let's pump the brakes." Yeah, they had a good back half of the season, and then Florida goes 4-0, right? They still got a lot of hype early in the year. They get a new coach in Summerall. Now I think they were like the second or third most votes that didn't make it into the preseason top 25. So it'll be interesting to
And
see. I'm excited.
one more thing, Texas Tech, bro. They lost Sorsby. I don't even know if their quarterback's been cleared to play.
I think it's Will Hammond. Yeah, I don't know. Last they heard at
So
camp, it
like
was
putting them at
helmet
12 is
contact.
crazy, I think, but I don't know. But as you said, this means absolutely nothing. So that's just our thoughts on that. And now we're going to get into the Big Ten. Let's start out with the Big Ten power rankings, TG. So I'm just saying real quick, it's Oregon. So that's another thing is Oregon's one and OSU, which are switched in the top 25. Oregon, OSU, USC, Indiana, Michigan, Washington, Nebraska, Penn State, Minnesota, Iowa, UCLA, Illinois, Maryland, Wisconsin, Northwestern, Michigan State, Rutgers, and Purdue. So USC in front of Indiana, like that's another thing is like maybe the Big Ten knows more than they maybe they all know more than we think because if they're ranked what Indiana 6 in the AP and USC's tied for 14th. I don't know why they do
They're
that.
they're tied. Yeah, I don't understand. Tied with BYU for 14. Yeah, that one's odd to me. And I'm with you. Why is the AP poll now? Again, these are different voters voting on different things, but Oregon ahead of Ohio State. That doesn't shock me. That doesn't bother me because I'm kind of with you on paper.
Yeah,
I like Oregon. And then, but yeah, USC being above Indiana, and honestly, being above Michigan was a little bit of a shocker. I'm actually high on USC, but the preseason, because what have they done? They have done nothing at all. They've done nothing in the Big Ten.
right.
In the Pac-12, they've dropped two opportunities. This is under Lincoln Riley, and when they were in the Pac-12 with him, they dropped two chances to be in the playoff. Um, so I don't really get that preseason ranking a ton, but again, it's a preseason projection. So
And then
uh,
Nebraska, bro. Like I think they're going to be terrible. They're sitting there. I think Penn State. They're. I don't want to say they're going to be terrible. I don't want to say they're going to be good. I think they're going to be better than Nebraska. and Nebraska's sitting there in front of them. They're going to finish probably 5th or 8th. Penn
I
State.
Yeah, looking at the Nebraska pick, you know, Dylan Raiola leaves Nebraska to go be the backup at Oregon, and I don't get it. They don't get a ton of recruits. Their talent isn't that high. This isn't the 80s and the 90s. I would have had Nebraska. I would have had Nebraska behind Illinois. I don't get it. I really don't
I
get
agree.
I don't get Minnesota where they're at. I know PJ Fleck's a great coach. They always find a way to have a decent season. But why is Iowa behind both
Yeah,
Nebraska and Minnesota? That's shocking. That's a team
I'd put
that's
Iowa up. Yeah, Iowa, I think, is going to make some noise this year.
if they could throw the ball to get a first down, Iowa would be 10-2 or 11-1 every year. Um, I think that is I saw a statistic in the last 20 years, the only team to not allow more than, I think it was 18. I'm probably getting this number a little bit wrong, but it's like more than 18 points a game scoring defense is Iowa, all under Kurt Ferentz. So if they could just throw the ball a little bit, there's so much upside there.
They brought in the starter Jeremy Hecklinski, or I think he went to Wake Forest, so
And they got
but
Hank Brown
he
from
didn't
Auburn
play.
too.
Yeah, so I mean, you just never know. They're trying to bring in some dudes that can throw. Hopefully, you said Hank Brown.
Yeah, he was at Auburn. He started a few games at
Yep.
Auburn 2 or 3 years ago. But man, you look at them offensively, you know they're gonna have like they're always having guys drafted high on the O line. They always have a tight end. They run the ball well. They're gonna play defense. So just give us a little, just not us. I'm obviously not an Iowa fan, but just give them a little bit of a little bit of game through the air. I think you're okay.
I agree. All right, so that's the rankings. Next one we're gonna get into is a thing we're gonna start doing: buy, sell, hold. Um, TG teams you're buying this year.
I'm buying Oregon. I know a lot of people are buying Oregon. Everyone's saying this is Dan Lanning's year. I feel like we've said that before. I feel like at a certain point, like fate and the law of averages has to come into play. Lanning's been so close, gotten bounced in the playoffs the last 2 years. One after being the number one overall, and then last year they win a game, they beat JMU, then they go and get smacked in Atlanta by Indiana. But Dante Moore came back. They have the best D line, all four return for them. Their O line is always good. And then they get receivers back, right? They get Evan Stewart back after the year before from an injury. Um, the other team I'm going to buy them back. I'm going to buy back Penn State. And this
Ooh,
is, yeah, I know. After the disaster of what happened last year and the mass exodus, the thing is, they brought Matt Campbell from Iowa State. He brought, I mean, essentially the whole team with him. He brought his coordinators with him. He's he has more resources at Penn State than he did at Iowa State, and he built them into a perennial winner. He brings his quarterback Rocco Becht. I don't know if we're going to get into schedules, but they have the weakest schedule of any team. I think they play like two currently ranked teams, and they might both be at home. So it wouldn't shock me if it's week 11 and Penn State is 8-1,
and they don't
seven
have a
and
tough
two.
schedule either.
They don't. It's a cakewalk for them. I know they get USC at home, and I think they have one road trip, and that's it. Um, so that's who I'm buying back.
Yeah, I'm buying Oregon. I think Dan Lanning, it's his year. It has to be his year. Um, he's always, I mean, he's been doing great with Oregon, but with that much talent, man, he's got to win the big one, or else they're going to be asking questions, which is hard to believe because he's making the playoffs every year. Why would you be asking questions? But that's just how today is. They got most of their starters back, and adding some great players as well to go along. Next team I'm buying is USC. I am behind USC. Number one overall recruiting class in the Big Ten, and I want to say like the top overall in the Big Ten is USC's number two in transfer and recruiting. So I think, I mean, Lincoln Riley, I still trust in him. He's getting a good quarterback over there. Third, and then Lincoln Riley in his third year QBs, you know what he can do. So I'm buying USC as well. Um, Next one for UTG, who you selling?
I am selling the preseason number one Ohio State Buckeyes.
Mm.
I know, it's going to get slack. I think that they're not far off from a talent perspective, but we've heard Ryan Day this whole fall camp talk about the O line, and he wanted his O line set in by day 9 or day 10. Well, that's come and gone, and he's not there yet.
Yeah,
So there's some shakeup there. Obviously, they have what everyone says is the best football player in college in Jeremiah Smith. They get Julian Saying back. Yes, he's accurate. He did a great job last year in his first full year starting. I just think their schedule is very tough. And games at Texas, at Iowa, at Indiana, at USC, Oregon, and Michigan at home. I mean, if they go through that and they're untouched, like, okay, but I just
they
don't believe it's going to happen. I see a world where
they lost
this
their
this
whole
is
defense too.
yeah, they have 7 guys drafted off of that defense last year. It's Caleb Downs, Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, like those top, like that's top 15 guys right there.
I know.
Um, I see this Ohio State team being very similar to the 9-3 Texas last year, but the difference is their schedule is brutal. Like they could be if somehow that's a 9-3 team that gets in the playoffs, I wouldn't count them out from making a deep run. I just think that I'm off of them being 11-1 or 12-0 this year.
Yep, I agree with you there. They just lost a lot, and I hate them. So
I'll add one more thing. Sorry, real quick.
yeah,
Their offensive coordinator is Arthur Smith, who was the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, a team which I deeply, deeply love, and I just kind of hope it goes south.
he's pulling against them. They couldn't do it for the Falcons, so
Yeah, I
he
hope it
better
goes
not do it
badly.
at Ohio State. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else, or you just one?
No, that's the only team I'm selling.
All right,
That's the only hot team I'm selling this year.
I am selling the national champs.
Oh,
Look, I want to say it wasn't a fluke what Sig did, but dude, what he did, still haven't seen him. Yeah, we saw him bring back 1 year last year, but those are the same guys that were there that he brought over. And but I want to see what he does when he rebuilds something. Like he just lost the number one overall pick, and that's big. But whether you like Mendoza or not, that's huge. Um, I think he's a great coach. But I just think a lot fell into place last year for them, and I'm not saying like he got lucky or anything. I'm just saying like that was perfect. Like you saw the first year, they ran through the league and they got demolished.
yep.
They brought everyone back and they got it done. They went undefeated. Great, that's great. But I mean, they lost some people. Some people transferred out. Like I said, lost a number one overall pick. I just want them to prove it, and I know it's probably a bad thing, but because a lot of people were saying they got to prove it last year and they went undefeated and won it. But I just want to see him prove it. So that's where I'm at on them. What about holds?
I'm gonna hold, and I'm only holding this because of quarterback play. I'm gonna hold the 2 Southern California teams, both USC and UCLA. And I guess you could say I'm holding them, and I'm kind of buying a little bit, right? I'm putting a little bit of money on that. I think this could be a Heisman year for Jade Maava, like right. Lincoln Riley's coached 3 Heisman winners, Caleb Williams, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and Jalen Hurts that ended up getting third in the Heisman. Mayava is in his third year at USC, third full year starting because he had a year at UNLV. He's got talent around him, and they did just hire. Like, we'll get into who they hired on the defense side in a little bit, but the other side, UNLV, Nico Iamaleava,
Uh-huh.
second full year there. The guy you just mentioned, Kirk Sidnetti, the guy who took over at JMU for him, is now at UCLA, Bob Chesney. Not only that, but they went and they hired Derek Carr to be offensive analyst and coach the quarterbacks. And I was watching some videos of Derek Carr and his brother just raving about Nico and how he can throw the ball. I mean, he's putting it in guys' shirt pockets, just the way it comes off of his hands. I just think a little, he's back home in LA. He's got that confidence. He's got that swagger back to him. But what would it mean if on week what is this, week 14, week 13, after Thanksgiving, you get in the Coliseum USC versus UCLA. Somehow one's, 8-3, one's 9-2, and that game means something again. That would
That'd
be,
be sick. I like that, and that's one game that, as a Michigan fan, um, we play Oregon at home, then we play UCLA, then we got Ohio State on the road. This right in between Oregon and Ohio State, so I'm keeping an eye out for that one because that's one of them trap games. I feel like right
yeah,
between those two big teams, the number one and number two teams.
yeah, sure.
I'm all right.
Who are you holding?
This is honestly, I am. I'm not just saying this. I'm holding Michigan. The
Okay.
only reason, dude, you got think of what they just. I mean, this is the first year they haven't had some sort of bullshit going on outside of football. They
Yep.
had, even the whole Natty run, they had something going on in their minds. The last 2 years, the dude wasn't even taking his job seriously. Sharon Moore, thank God he's out, and we got Whittingham. He was at Utah for 20 years. This is a stand-up dude. He knows football. He got two Pac-12 wins over there. Pac-12. That's it.
Pac-12. Yeah, they were
Yeah,
Pac-12.
Pac-12
Yeah.
wins. I get them mixed up. Pac-12 wins over there. I don't know, man. He brought over JJ Buchanan. He's looking really good. He set some records at Utah last year. But I just think if Bryce Underwood, I'm holding them because of the coaching staff and Bryce
Yeah.
Underwood. If he can throw the ball, I promise you they're going to make the playoffs. Dude,
Yeah.
it's insane the stuff I've been hearing. Like, just we finally got wide receivers. Now you have no excuse. Last year it was, oh, we didn't have nobody to throw to. Well, now you do. Um, that Savion Hyder dude come in,
Mhm.
that freshman. We got probably the two best. We could have the two best running backs in the Big Ten with Jordan Marshall and Savion Hyder.
Yep.
Defense. I mean, we'll get on all that later, but I think this team, if the Whittingham comes in and coaches like he knows, I mean, you got to think he did what he did at Utah. He's got so much more resources now at Michigan. Um, he's got the number one recruit last year, got the number one running back recruit this year, got a good defense, got Beck training uh, Bryce Underwood. I mean, he just got to show up and not get into bull crap off the field like the past few coaches.
Yeah, and I think you hired, especially because of how late it happened. I mean, it was a perfect scenario. He retires from Utah after 23 seasons, an undefeated season where they beat Bama back in '05, '06. I can't remember the exact year, but back then they beat Bama. He's won Pac-12 titles, and to your point, he has won conference championships with much less talent at quarterback than he
Right.
has now with Bryce Underwood. So yeah, if he just gets him going a little bit, I mean, I think
And
you're
he
in a
was
different
he won it when Oregon was
place.
there. He won it when
Yeah,
UCLA.
like when
I mean,
USC was good, Oregon was good. Yeah, USC, that's who he beat. Washington was good in the Pac-12. He
watch
went out
out
there
for
and
that
did.
backup though. If he don't start doing well, Tommy Carr. Oh my God, he's so
There
good.
is one off-season thing though that did happen with Michigan this year, or this with Kyle Whittingham.
What was
He
it?
said he didn't have any hate for the Ohio State
So
game.
bro. All right, so listen, the only connection he had with Michigan Ohio State was Urban Meyer's best friend. Like he's
Yeah,
like, well, what do
yeah,
you expect the dude to just come in and 5 days later? Just that's what I'm telling everybody, all the Michigan fans, like, oh, he don't hate him, he's got to hate him. Well, dude, give him like
yeah,
2 months. Like, don't give him a week or two. Like his best friend, Coach Ohio State forever, one of the greatest, and that's the only connection he had. He can't walk in here and be like, I hate Ohio State, because then he'd be
yeah.
lying to us because he wouldn't
Yeah, then
hate
he'd
them.
be
So at
a then
least he's
he'd be
being
a,
honest,
that's true because then he'd be Brian Kelly and
faking it.
he'd have a fake accent and everyone would call him
Exactly.
out. So you're
So
right.
everybody needs to chill with that. Like once he sees the passion from the players, the other coaches that have been there, the students, once he goes to that first game, I hope it's before then. But I think, I mean, he likes Ryan Day. Um, but I'll tell you what, Ryan
Yeah.
Day, son,
It's-
we're in his head. The
yeah,
worst thing that could have happened to him is us get Whittingham, because no, like, yeah, Whittingham's not the top of the top, right? But he's a great coach, and we've only seen him at Utah. He could be, but he's a great coach, and he keeps everything straight. We don't need
yeah.
all this outside stuff. We need back to Michigan football,
I think
and that's what he's going to do.
I think if you guys beat Oklahoma, you should also get a turtleneck T-shirt like Whittingham wears. I like those. I'm a fan of those.
All right,
Those are making a comeback.
I'm not gonna lie. That I want to say that's our season, or that's our playoff chances, whether we beat them or not. Because I mean, we beat them. That's a huge boost to resume. Now, if we
Yeah.
lose to them and then go 9-3, I still think with that schedule, we got the second hardest schedule,
Yep.
right? We
Yep.
play the 1 seed, the 2 seed, the 6 seed, the 10th seed. That's four top 10 teams, and then two other ranked teams, which is Iowa and USC. So not USC, in state. But
Yeah.
I think I'm holding them because of that. I could be buying them real soon. We'll see after week 2. But anything else for that one?
Um, no, that's kind of it on my buy, sell, hold. I'm going to say one thing about a team that's a rival of Michigan. The Paul Bunyan Trophy, not the Paul Bunyan Axe. Those are two
Right.
different things if you explore the folklore of Big Ten rivalries. But y'all's Paul Bunyan Trophy against Michigan State. Michigan State hired Pat Fitzgerald after he got a fat bag from Northwestern trying to sue him. Um, you guys can go research that on your own. But I think Michigan State is going to be a better football team because, guys, it's not that long ago with Mark D'Antonio was there, and they were playing for championships, and they were a legitimate
Right.
team, and they have
Well, I
been
think they're going through the same thing. Like, I hate them, but they've had coaches that just didn't
yeah,
work out or was doing some bull crap,
yeah,
like just distractions. Now, I don't think they're going to be like top 8 in
no,
the Big Ten good, but compared to what they have in the last few years, because I don't think you can. I think it went so far or for so
yeah,
long that I mean they just had to clean house. Like it wasn't like us 2 years, we still held on to the number one overall recruit in our players because we got a dude coming in right away.
yeah.
And it was only 2 years coming out, and we won the Natty 2 years ago. They know it's going to turn around quick. Like this has been coach after coach for them, you know?
Yeah, I think this since Mark D'Antonio retired, this is number they've gone. This will be number 3 for them or 4. I feel like it might be 3. Anyways, it's either 3 or 4 for them.
And the
But to your, I
quarterback
mean,
just hasn't worked out.
no, they have not had quarterback play, and but I think that goes back to just a cultural thing. And if you look at Northwestern when Pat Fitzgerald was there, dude, Northwestern Stadium holds like 30. They just built a brand new state of the art stadium. It holds like 25,000 people because no one's going to those games, right?
Yeah.
So all that to say, I think he's going to get them. Now, do I think they're going to win 5 games this year? No, but they are going to be much more competitive. They're going to be much better of a
Right.
program, kind of like the historical Michigan State, where they're tough, hard nosed. You know they're going to play. But that's something
And
to keep
I
an eye on.
and I wanted to be like that.
yeah, you want that game to be good. You don't
Yeah,
want like yeah, you're gonna want to win it every year, but you don't want it to
like
be
it
just a
was like
boring.
that. Our rivalry with them was good when we were getting smoked by OSU like 8 years in a
Yep.
row,
Yeah.
14 or 15, and now it's we turned around, beat OSU 4 years in a row. We've been smacking. We've actually been on a hot streak with against Michigan State and Ohio State, but we'll see there. They got that new quarterback from where did he go?
I
Is
don't
he
know who
just a
the quarterback is.
backup?
Chile, Aiden Chile, is that the guy who left or is that the guy who came in? I don't know a
No,
ton
Aiden
of
Chile's whatever. He's the
yeah,
guy that has been there that they thought
left.
was
Yeah, yeah,
God. And
yeah,
no, he was at Michigan State the last 2 years. He's the one that came in last year, second half of the year. That's who it was. The new quarterback this year that took Aiden
yeah.
Chile's spot.
Oh,
Um,
that's what it was. He went to Northwestern. That's what I knew there was some connection between where
who did?
Fitzgerald, Aiden Chiles went to Northwestern.
Gotcha.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that's just something to keep an eye out. If you're, I think they're probably at like a 4.5 over under, and I feel like Pat Fitzgerald will find a way to win a fifth game.
Well, we'll go right into that then. Next is conference play win totals section, and we're gonna start off with the top dogs. Just kind of give me your thoughts. It's crazy. The only so with this is Ohio State and Oregon. They both at 10.5, but or sorry, Ohio State is at 10.5, but it's plus 160, and you can also get them at 9.5 at minus 180. So they think they're going to win 10 games. Vegas, they're putting that in the middle, and then Oregon is sitting at 10.5, and Indiana's at 10.5 at even money.
Dude,
Um,
I'm very. I've already said my Ohio State take of. I don't think that. I think they're a 10 and. I don't think they're an 11 win team. I think
gotcha.
they're more likely a 9-3 or 10-2 team. And again, that's still a dadgum good football team. But I just think
Yeah.
those too rough. Um, Oregon, on the other hand, they were 12-0 the year before, 11-1 last year. Um, they got some road tests at USC, at Ohio State, Michigan at home, finish with Washington. I could see Oregon winning 11 games.
Okay.
I could
So you
see
want
them
the
being.
over on Oregon, under on
I
Ohio
would.
State? I'm going to go under just because Ohio State's schedule is tough. I'm high on Oregon.
Yeah.
I'm going
If
to
I
go
was
over
betting,
there.
I would stay away from those though because um, I just feel like there's so much parity in the Big Ten and the SEC, and I felt like that last year in the SEC as well. But now the SEC added that ninth game, right? But I think being an unbiased SEC sports fan, as my shirt shows all the logos, uh, just the Big Tens, they're good too. Like there's a lot of grit in some of these teams that are in the middle of the pack. Um,
That can sneak up and get a dub.
Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota, yeah, and it's in a different way too. It's not like it's not necessarily the same way you got a guy who's gonna go out on Sunday and be a first round draft pick for a team who wins 6 games, but it's a little more gritty. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
if I
I'm
had to pick an
I'm
11 win team, I'm gonna go Oregon. I'm with you there.
yeah, and then Indiana at 10.5 with even money. I'm going under there. Like that's something I will probably put
Yeah,
something on. I mean, you got to think they just got to lose 2 games, and they got Ohio State, Michigan, and USC and Washington. I think they dropped 2 of those right there, but
yeah,
I could be proven wrong again. 9.5. I mentioned Ohio State, big over on the juices over there, but Penn State is between 9.5 and 8.5,
yeah. That's
which is crazy because I mean, if you're first year Matt Campbell, you'll take Would you take 8-4?
Um, no, I think they'd be. I think fans in Happy Valley would be pissed with 8-4. Um, I think they'd accept 9-3.
I mean,
I
they have to
I
at this
told
point.
dude, I told
Actually,
you
that schedule is favorable for them. So
I told you I'm buying them back. I'm buying them back at 10-2. They're games that they maybe wouldn't be favored in. Home against USC, probably whiteout. They go to Michigan and they go to Washington. I guarantee the majority of America could not name a starter on any other team that they play because that
gotcha.
is how weak their schedule is. I mean, dude, if you think about it, if this schedule was Michigan, USC, Ohio State,
Their
I'll give you
playoffs
Iowa.
99%.
Yeah, you would be betting your house that they're going to make the playoffs. There's a lot of unknowns, but my unknown is not Matt Campbell. Like he's a hard nosed dude, and he brought
Yep.
his quarterback and some coordinators with him. So I would take the plus on that one. I think they're going to win 10 games this year.
Okay. So definitely over 8.5 and over 9.5. Okay. I like that. Michigan's in between 8.5 over is plus 140 and 7.5. They're in between 8.5 and 7.5, depending on where you go. So they think they're going to be 8-4, which, I mean, that schedule, man,
I know
is
that's a tough
tough.
schedule, dude. That I mean, like you said, between them and Ohio State, that's one of the toughest schedules. You get Oklahoma, a playoff
So we
team who,
got Oklahoma week 2. So we got Western Michigan. All right. Oklahoma week 2, which I looked at the line. We're favored by 1.5, which is good news to me, but that doesn't mean anything.
yeah,
UTEP. Then we got Iowa. Like, who knows? They could, I mean, I know
thankfully
they're
it's at
not ranked
home.
right now, but they could do
Oh
something.
no, Iowa's sitting at 22 in the
Oh, they
AP poll.
are. So
Yeah,
we got unranked, ranked, unranked, ranked. Then we got Minnesota. Then Penn State. So unranked, ranked. Then we got Penn State, Indiana back to back. Rutgers, Michigan State. And we finish with Oregon, UCLA, Ohio State.
but you go to Oregon and to Ohio State.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
the good news is you get three of those tough games, four of those tough games at home. Three of those tough games you get Indiana, Iowa, and Penn State all at home. But yeah, you've
And
like you
Oklahoma.
and Oklahoma, yeah, four of the games. Yep, you're right. I mean, yeah, if that's why I said earlier, their record might not be better than it was last year, but I guarantee they're a better football team than they
Oh,
were.
yeah. And dude, this is like, I mean, I feel like I mean, we could be 9-0
Mm-hmm.
going into Oregon, or we could be
7-2, 6-3.
or
Like it's yeah.
1-1, 2.
I don't think you drop a
We could be
game.
4. We could be 5-4, bro.
Yeah, because you got
I mean, if
Oklahoma.
those 50-50 games, you got Oklahoma, Penn State, and Indiana, and Iowa. I mean, I feel
I
like
like. Here's what I say. I like. Uh, if you think matchup wise with how Whittingham is as a coach, and I know he hasn't had a ton of time to build his culture, but I like them being home against Iowa. I like them being home against Penn State, even though I just mentioned Penn State's a 10-win team in my book. I think you could be, and then it's like, okay, can I split a game? Can I beat Indiana and can I beat Oklahoma? And people are high on Oklahoma. There's a lot of SEC folks saying this is Oklahoma's years. Defense is the
I'm
same.
high on Oklahoma.
Dude, yeah, Mateer's back. Their
Yeah,
O-line production is returning. If they can just get some run game, like there's no reason in the world because they made the playoffs last year. I think a lot of people forget that, and they made the playoffs and they limped into it, right? If they wouldn't have
right.
beat Bama in Tuscaloosa, and then obviously Bama got them in the playoffs, but they did it with Mateer, who had a sewn up thumb. They didn't play without our Mason Thomas, their best defensive edge rusher, and they still found a way. But yeah,
Yeah,
I just yeah,
I
I'm with
agree.
you.
I'm not gonna say we're gonna be 5-4. I think. Um, 9-0, I don't know, but that'd be great. But then, even if we're 8-1 or 7-2, I feel like, I mean, you got to think Whittingham. He was a defensive minded coach. It's not like he's coming into a place that had no defense. Michigan has been straight defense and run the ball
Mm.
crazy, and we finally got a like you. The
Yep.
last quarterback that we've had that could really throw the ball, JJ could throw it, but he wasn't a throw first quarterback.
No.
Bryce needs to be. I know we got two running backs, but if he can throw the ball, man, he Whittingham, they throw the rock over there at Utah.
Yeah.
He's not coming
If
into
they
like a
can,
straight, totally
yeah.
different.
Yeah. But it's not totally, and like your point, it's not totally different because Utah, they had the line, like they had the line of scrimmage. I mean, that's how they beat teams, right? Because you don't think of a ton of guys from Utah skill position wise in the NFL on Sundays. They did it through
Right.
the line of scrimmage, which is how Michigan traditionally does it too. If they can be balanced, like you said, if they could just be a little more balanced than they were last year, um, I mean, dude, I feel like those games will be very meaningful. And even though Ryan Day, you know, wussed out and decided to move Senior Day to the beginning of the year instead of the end of the year,
He's a
imagine,
coward.
yeah, imagine rolling in to big noon kickoff. Gus Johnson is just screaming his head off, and it's 9-2 Michigan, 9-2 Ohio State. It's snowing, and the winner goes to the playoffs. You
That would
just,
be sick.
dude, you couldn't be. I mean, you're eating Thanksgiving leftovers, just standing up the whole time because you're just so excited for that game.
Bro, think of this. Going back to Ohio State, last year, Indiana's defense was top three.
Hmm.
The year before that, Ohio State's defense was top three. Michigan
Yep.
had the number one. They were number one. Michigan was
Yep.
number one before that. You have got to have a freaking defense to win this college football. I'm just telling you right now. And
Yeah.
that's why I think our record was 9-3 last year. We were not a 9-3 football team, but our defense kept us in
Yeah.
it. We had a kind of weaker schedule, so we just had to score some points. But I just feel like with them losing all that, with this strong Big Ten, I don't think it's going to work. But
That
let's move
was.
on. Go ahead.
I was gonna say 9-3 last year. I think I remember texting you during the Michigan USC game. I think Michigan turned USC over at the end, and they just got and ran the ball like 9 straight times. I could be getting the year prior confused. I feel like it was last year though. And they just kept running it and running. And I was like, good Lord, they're just gonna run this game all the way down. And that's how they did it. I mean, there was no threat to throw the ball at all.
That's that's what I'm telling you, bro. Like if you can just have a good defense and then get some points up, like that's it. The rest of the over under 8.5 is USC and Washington. I'm going over for USC. I don't. I mean, I think they do got a tough
I,
schedule, but I think they're
yeah,
gonna.
I'm very high on that. I'm with you there.
And Washington, that's a toss up. I'm gonna
I
stay away
think,
from that one.
yeah, that's a tough one because we don't know. I think quarterback play, Washington very well could be a 10-9-3, 10-2 team. But I'm with you. It's so much unknown there.
Mm-hmm. 7.5 Illinois, Iowa.
Iowa for sure. I'm taking Iowa 7.5 without a doubt.
They got Northern Illinois, Iowa State, then at Michigan, which that would be tough. They got Michigan, Ohio State, Washington back to back to back.
I think that's
But then
it.
after that, it's Minnesota,
Yeah.
Wisconsin, Northwestern, Purdue, Illinois, Nebraska. So I mean, if they
Mhm.
could sneak out one of those against Michigan, Ohio State, or Washington, they could make the playoffs easily.
Yeah, I think you're right. As long, yeah, don't drop one game and then, um, yeah,
I mean,
I'm
if
with
they lose all three of those, they're
you.
not getting in, but they could still go 9-3. But I mean, if they
Yep.
beat one of those teams, that's I
Let me
like
ask,
that.
let me ask you a question. I know this was kind of off topic on here. What team, um, in the Big Ten that we could say is out of the top nine that's not ranked? Could you see being ranked by the end of the year? So currently ranked Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana, Michigan, Penn State, USC,
USC.
Washington, and Iowa. Is there any team you
Um,
can see being making that's not no, well? I'm not going to ask two questions here. Obviously, somebody's probably going to drop out of that. But who do you think that's not ranked could hop in the top 25 to end the season?
Probably UCLA.
Okay, I like that. I was thinking of UCLA. My other take, and this is kind of a bold take, is Maryland. Um, that quarterback they got can play. They had a few local DC kids stay and go to Maryland. Um, and their schedule is like if they're not if they're decent, they're 8-4 or 9-3.
I'm also going to throw uh, Wisconsin in there.
Okay, that's a, yeah. I
They
can
got
roll with
Notre
that.
Dame game one. Then they don't
Yeah,
have. Then they have Penn State, UCLA, USC, Iowa, Rutgers, Maryland,
yeah,
Purdue. They miss out on Michigan, Indiana, Ohio State, and
yeah,
Oregon. They don't play
yeah.
all four of those teams. They don't play the
If
top four teams.
they if they didn't schedule Notre Dame for this year, and they would have had like a you know anyone else in the group of four, I would have been like, oh, this is an 8-win team. Could be an 8 win because you give
Bro, they're
Luke
gonna be. They're
Fickell
gonna. Bro, I think
like
they're gonna win a game. That's what I'm saying. I think they could
yeah,
possibly sneak up in the
yeah.
top 25.
Like, let's not forget, Luke Fickell took Cincinnati to 12-1, 11-1, 12-0. He had them in the playoffs. He had a group of, at that time, it was group of five team in the playoffs with 4-team playoffs in Cincinnati when they had, what's his name? Desmond Ritter,
Yep.
um, as their quarterback. And I mean, and that was an elite program. They were winning at a high level. He goes to Wisconsin. Everyone's like, okay, Wisconsin football's back. And I was listening to the show the other day. It was Pete Thamel and Reese Davis, and they were talking about every single year, whoever started at quarterback for Wisconsin has had like a terrible season-ending, career-ending injury. And Luke Fickell ends up being down to his second and third quarterback by like game six, right?
They
So
got
it
that
looks
one
like
kid from
that.
Old Dominion,
Yeah. Guy who lit it up in the group of in the G6 last
60%.
year. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Which
So
that's maybe what he needs. Like, I mean, if he's doing that at Old Dominion,
yeah,
hopefully he's got some help. He's got some good transfers coming in to help. But yeah, I think they can make a little splash too. Imagine if Wisconsin beats Notre Dame game one.
dude, that would be crazy. But you know what,
Holy
Marshall,
crap!
Northern Illinois and Marshall have also beat Marcus Freeman.
That's what I'm
So
saying. That's like,
yeah,
but that could boost Wisconsin so high, like
oh yeah,
because then the rest of the schedule looks cake.
yeah.
That's the best team on
Yes.
their schedule, bro.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's very true. And it's crazy to say because if you think if we're sitting here 10 years prior to this, it's 2016, saying that the Wisconsin Notre Dame game is probably going to be, to give you an example, Wisconsin, Notre Dame's almost a 3 touchdown favorite right now. That would be
Yep.
right because because Wisconsin is known for being able to play defense and run the football, and their offensive line is unbelievable. That's just disappeared, um, probably in the last half decade. But yeah, I mean, to your point, it's that's another good team. I like that. I like that pick.
I think for see Penn State, Indiana. I think if Washington drops, if they start out and win one, two, three, if they win the first four and lose to USC and Iowa, they could drop out of the top 25
Yeah,
because then they
yeah,
end with Indiana and Oregon.
I can
They
see
end
that.
they end with Penn State, Indiana, Oregon. But that's the only. I know you're about to ask that who would drop out.
Well, that's what I was curious about. Who dropped? Iowa's an easy take because they're ranked so low, and you just think they're probably not going to get any quarterback play. Let me ask you. Let's talk about something real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. I ran through this and wrote it down on a piece of paper yesterday. No GPT, no AI. This was solely me going through schedule by schedule of Big Ten teams. There's a world where there could be 7, 10-2 teams in the Big Ten. The mock projection that I did had Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana, Washington, USC, Penn State, and Iowa. You could even go as far to throw an eighth one in there, and UCLA could be 10-2. Now, I don't think that could happen. I don't think that's
I
going to
hope it
happen.
don't, because Michigan ain't in there.
I know. Well, that was. I think Michigan wound up having to be like 9-3 because I was like, all right, this doesn't work
Yeah,
for my.
no, yeah. But that's crazy.
It is. Um,
What's
I
crazy
don't.
is like it could happen. Like I
Yeah.
think these teams are closer than everyone thinks now that Ohio State. I think
Yeah.
Oregon's above everyone. I think Ohio State is very good. I just think that defense, like I said, I think defense is a lot in college football, and
And they have
they've
so
had
many
that
tough road
defense.
games. Yeah, and that's the thing that gets me with them is how many tough road games do you have? Um, now, do I think there's going to be 7 or 8? No. Um, but if we're sitting here talking about this week 11, week 10 or week 11, and there's realistically 4 or 5 teams that could wind up 10-2, it would not shock me at all.
That would be wild. And I think that I mean we already talked about SEC, but I'm pretty sure that could happen there too. I
Yeah,
just
that's
think
kind of the same way I'm with you there.
I think the gap last year between Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon and the tier two has shrunk a little bit. So I think there are some of these tier two teams that can compete with them now. But we'll see.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So I think just based on all that, some of them, I think that if Michigan, USC, or Washington go over their win total, it's going to shake the whole conference up. That might put it to the teams that are multiple teams at 10-2 and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think
I can see
one or
that.
two of them, if they go over their total, their 8.5 is going to be because I mean, what do you do with Michigan if they lose? If they go 9-3, lose to Oklahoma, Ohio State, and Oregon,
Yeah, I think then you look at number one is Oklahoma
where they would be at.
10-2 or 11-1. Did they play in the SEC championship? And then are the two other teams you lost to in Oregon and Ohio State? Are those the two teams that are playing in the Big Ten championship?
Because I mean, if
Um,
you lose to the one,
if
two,
you
and
lose
ten
to three,
teams,
if your 3 losses are to 3 of the 4 teams that would be in the SEC and Big Ten championship, and maybe those losses
or in
are.
the top 10 still, I mean,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, I think they got to be above the top 10 because if you think about it, now unless Oregon or Ohio State or Oklahoma ends up having a crazy year where they're 7-5, I don't foresee any of that happen.
yeah.
But if just throwing this out there, if we're gonna make a take of those 3 teams that Oregon, Ohio State, Oklahoma, I would say Oklahoma had a better chance of being 7-5 than any of the others.
Right, I agree.
But to your point, how do you not put that's the same way with Texas last year. It's like, dude, they lost at Ohio State.
Yeah,
They
but I think
lose.
they had, hold on. Because remember, they started out like 1-2 or 1-3, didn't
No,
they?
they were two. No, because they. I want to say they started out. Maybe they were 2-3.
It
Um,
was, I'll tell you,
because they lose at week 1 at
they
Ohio
lost
State.
Ohio State. Oh, yeah, they beat the next three.
Yeah, and then they lost to Florida.
They lost to Florida. They beat
Hmm.
Oklahoma, beat Kentucky. So
They
they lost
lost
to
to
Florida, which
Florida.
ended up. I mean, they weren't good. That's
Dude,
probably
four
why I
and
think
eight.
that they
Yeah,
took a lot into it. But then losing to Georgia and Ohio State, I guess. I mean, but
yeah.
then that, I mean, and another thing is like that's the only
They didn't beat anybody. That's the difference. Let me take that
Oklahoma.
back. They beat Oklahoma and they did beat A&M, so that's not true. Um, but yeah, I think They didn't play 9 conference games. Their schedule isn't this wasn't the same as last year as Michigan's is this year. Um, yeah,
It's
like
tough, man.
we're
Well,
not talking
what
about
if
this.
Michigan beats Oklahoma? They end up winning the SEC, and Michigan loses to Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State.
Yeah, but you're not. Again, we're not talking about Michigan losing to. Florida ended up 2-6 in the
Yeah, that's
SEC.
what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
we're
I'm
not
saying
talking.
like I feel like Michigan can get in with 9-3 somehow.
I think so.
Um,
I think
it just
to your
had
point. Um, I think Josh Pate said that he thinks his bold take. This was down at SEC Media Days, a little different. We're talking Big Ten, but he said a 9-3 SEC team could make the playoffs. Like, that's his take, and I don't think that's unrealistic in the Big Ten when you look at Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana, Michigan, USC.
the
You can even throw Iowa in there too, Penn State in there too. So like, it's
yeah.
not unrealistic. Now, let me ask you something. This is a good question here. 10-2 Penn State, who beat nobody, and they lost to you guys in Michigan. Not you guys, you're unbiased, but they lost to Michigan and they lost to USC. But Michigan loses to one of those teams you said that are ranked in the top 10. How do you, even though the records are
That's
different,
one that's going to be like
it's kind of why
now if we lost to Oregon, if we were 8-3, losses to Oregon, Indiana, and Oklahoma, and we go to Ohio State and beat them, that's how it would. I mean, then I think you put it. I don't know. I think
I
it
just
depends on because the worst part for Michigan is they could be 9-1 and end up,
nine and
or
three.
they could be 8-1 and the last 2 out of 3 games are Oregon, Ohio State. And if we get
Yeah.
whooped, I feel like that's more recency bias rather
And
than
it's
if we were
yeah.
8-3 and go
Yes.
into Ohio State the last game of the year at Ohio State and they're the number 1 team in the nation or number 2 and you beat them.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I think
think
a
it's
lot of
hard
that stuff has plays into it.
unless there's an unreasonably amount of 11-1, 12-0, and 10-2 teams, which I just don't think is going to happen this year.
Right.
I think if you're Michigan and you end the year 9-3, um, honestly, I don't. I think if you're Michigan, you if I'm Michigan and I'm trying to argue my case in, it might be better to lose to an Oklahoma because then there's a lot more parity in the Big Ten, right? Because that means you gave Indiana, Oregon, or Ohio State a loss.
I think
Um,
that we would have to beat
yeah,
Oregon or Ohio State at the
yeah,
end of
one
the
of the
year.
yeah.
But then again, I mean, with these over these totals, if we have, who's to say we don't make the conference championship if we're
10
9-2 or
Seven,
7-2 in the
seven and
Big
two in
Ten?
conference. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if there's a five, look at the ACC last year. Duke gets in. That's a team who was
That's
7-5,
crazy.
right? I know, but like if you've got a gridlock with 5 teams at 7-2 in the Big Ten, like we don't. I don't know the tiebreaker rules for the Big Ten the same way, but like there's a chance, right? So I think you have a better shot. But then again, we're kind of arguing in circles on this. If there's 5 teams that have 2 losses in the Big Ten, then it's just a cloudy picture. So,
Yeah.
anyway,
All right. Next one, we're gonna go to the playoff Big Ten. Couple questions. Is there a team here that could make the jump this year to make their first 12-team playoff? So teams that have made it, to give you an example, Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, Indiana. Who would you go with?
you saying what's a team that didn't make it, has never made it in the
That has
past?
not made the 12, that's going to make that jump and make the 12-team playoff this year. Because I feel like
Yeah, I got
Big
USC there.
Ten, yeah, I agree. I'm still, since I'm holding Michigan, I mean, Michigan's just too much of a wild card. But I mean, they have a crap ton of opportunity, just like we just said. If they go 9-3, there's a chance. But their schedule's tough. But yeah, I agree with you on USC. And then
Here's my
I feel
USC.
like USC, Michigan, or Washington will make the playoff this year.
Okay. My playoffs. Oh, you're saying Oh, that's right.
No,
'Cause
I'm just saying, like, I think that one of those three teams will make it.
okay, well, I didn't realize this, but Michigan hasn't made the 12 team playoffs. They made the 4 team
No,
3 years in a row.
right.
Um, my take is I got USC making it, and I know I said I'd hit on the defensive side of the ball because everyone sees USC, they see Lincoln Riley, they see the quarterback, sees coach, but they hired Gary Patterson to be their defensive coordinator. And if you guys know ball like we do, Gary Patterson is the guy who built TCU from the Mountain West into the Big 12. He built that program from the ground up. And now he's over there coaching the defense in Southern California. And I just feel like, man, could we see a return of a stout defense? The Clay Matthews era, the Brian Cushing type defensive guys where they're just out there in the Coliseum fighting like they're Roman soldiers again. I don't know.
That'd be
That's my take on it because if Jade Mailava can spin it like I think he can in year 3, full-time starter,
under Lincoln Riley.
under Lincoln Riley, that defense steps up. They're a top 4 defense, 5 defense in the conference. There's no reason Jade Mailava isn't in New York. I'm not saying he's going to win the Heisman. I'm saying he's going to go there, and then
Yeah,
USC's in the playoffs.
I agree with that. All right, let's go on to players to watch. Just give me a couple here. I'll give you a couple. Omar Cooper Jr. for Indiana. He was a
Mm-hmm.
backup. He did a lot last year, but he was actually a backup last year, and he averaged 21 yards per catch. So, depending on, I think Josh Hoover will be
Yeah.
very, very good. Caton Hauser at Illinois QB, ECU transfer, threw for 5,300 yards and 37 TDs in 2 years. JJ Buchanan, my boy over here at Michigan, Utah transfer, fifth rated wide receiver in portal. Um, 430 yards, 5 touchdowns. Michigan, like I said, they finally have wide receivers, so there's no excuses for Underwood anymore. And then I am going to go Nico.
Yeah, I like that
I'm
pick.
excited to see what him and Chesney can do over there at UCLA.
Yeah, Nico's started now, what, 13 games at Tennessee, 12, 11 or 12 last year. I can't remember if he was hurt a game. And Derek, I don't know what it is, but I think Nico's talent is way above a lot of quarterbacks in college with his size and his arm strength. But you have a guy like Derek Carr coaching him, and dude,
Mm-hmm.
Derek Carr is just a bull, right? Like, there's those
Right.
videos of him, the memes of him with the face before the kickoff, and when he was with the Saints and the Raiders, and um, he might. I just feel like you're right. He might just unlock another level of Nico that we haven't seen. I'm sure Tennessee fans would hate that more than anything, but
Oh, yeah.
I like that. I like that. I think that's one to watch. My players to watch, I've hit on him multiple times. It's Jaden Maava. 20, I think he's at 27 games, 28 games started so far in his career. Um, Under Lincoln Riley, it's going to be exciting. The other guy I got is Coy Parrish. He transferred from Minnesota to Oregon, the number 1 safety in the portal. He was a second team all conference last year. He goes to Oregon, and he has the best defensive line in front of him that he'll ever see in his life. So I just feel like he's going to lock down half that field, make that defense even better under Dan Lanning. Last guy I
Yep.
got is Rocco Becht going from Iowa State to Penn State. The dude has started 39 games. And if you watch his tape, if you see his numbers, his height measurements, he's nothing's gonna jump off the plate for you. But when you cut on the film, the guy's savvy. He's a little bit smooth. He plays hard, and I think he's gonna push Penn State and Matt Campbell into a playoff run in their first year.
I like it. Yeah, there's a bunch more too. Like, also the last one I forgot was that dude at MSU, the quarterback. I just want to see what he can do coming from Old Dominion. See, he's going to a very, very bad team. So
Yeah.
um,
Yep.
he's getting a chance. Last one, last section for us is the random section. We're gonna be doing this. This is where we throw some stuff in. Um, this is more, I think, today is going to be more of college football, but this could be anything. First one, Ryan Day's a coward and he's scared of Michigan. Dude, who moves their senior day to week one? That's not fun. I've heard that the players voted on it. There's no way in heck that the players voted on that. Who wants to go out there in 90-degree weather? You haven't even played your senior year yet. No, it's not hype or nothing against a crappy team.
Yeah,
He said he didn't want distractions for Michigan. He's scared of them. That's all it is.
that's exactly right. He moved it. I mean, no one's mom or fiance or girlfriend wants to receive flowers while they're sweating. They're not, you know what I mean? Instead of wearing boots or having to wear open-toed shoes on a football field, people are going to be zooming in on them. It's just weird. Ryan Day, I don't know why he did that.
I'm not. I'm not. I hope nothing ever happens to anyone, but I feel like this could jinx somebody having their
Yeah,
senior day before their senior season. I'm just saying.
yeah. I saw. I can't think of the guy who said it. I don't. It was a former Ohio State player, but he was talking about how people who came, especially with the transfer portal, year one guys, no one knows your name the first game of the year, right? But by the 12th game of the year, you've
You're
gone
part
out
of
there,
the
you've
team.
made
It's
play.
over.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, let's have our senior day against Ball State. Get out of here. That's not what it's
For a
about.
dude, I just transferred over from
Yeah.
ECU, and I'm about to have senior day at Ohio State. I haven't even played a game.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of us, I know a guy, he's on the screen. It's myself. I had two senior days. Okay. Um, yeah, two senior days. And I would never have wanted them to be on the first game of the year. It was very weird.
It's so dumb, man. He's scared. He's a coward. He's trying to make all the excuses. That's why we've lost the last two games played at Ohio State and Michigan because the players
Yeah.
were distracted by senior day.
Yeah. It's
Whatever.
odd.
And my other one is Indiana. They by far have the easiest non-conference schedule,
It's awful.
and they play zero Power Four teams in the next 5 years.
Ooh.
They've Signetti has now canceled Louisville, Virginia, and Notre Dame games the past 2 years. And dude, you're the national champs. You got to go out there and play some real football teams, man. And then you can't get on and call out Notre Dame for it when you're doing this. I mean, you're looking at that. He's calling out the SEC. He said something like, what did he say?
He said we're not a hype machine up here in the Midwest, I believe is
Oh
his
yeah,
exact
he
words.
said, and then he said to Notre Dame, like, we should play y'all, come there once, y'all come to us twice since y'all aren't a conference. And then he said they asked him, he was like, we'll just adopt the SEC schedule. Now, I used to say that, but you can't say that this year. You got Texas and Ohio State playing. Oklahoma is playing Michigan. Like, you can't do
Yeah.
that. I just think the committee needs to start punishing teams that do this. I think I just think that's crazy because we're gonna. I know we said it last year. We're gonna see more teams doing this and just scheduling them. Like, if I'm a coach, I'm probably scheduling Brevard 4 games. Why
Yeah.
would I risk it? Like Michigan, if
Yeah.
they didn't have their win total is 8.5. If they didn't have Oklahoma, it'd be 9.5. Like, that's a
Yeah.
whole
Exactly.
game.
Yeah. Yeah. Same thing in the SEC with them moving to the 9 game schedule. I mean, Georgia moved somebody because I mean it's the same thing. Like they're playing. I mean, you look at a lot of these teams that play out of conference rivalries. Georgia, Florida with Florida
Yeah,
State, Clemson, and South Carolina. It just makes it tougher. And then you see Signetti making his rants.
they need to be like, if you don't schedule a freaking game that's worth a crap,
Yeah,
it don't have to be a ranked team, but go play Mississippi State. Go play. I mean, someone in the ACC. I don't know. If you
yeah,
don't win 11 games, you're out.
yeah. No, I'm with you there. Because realistically, if you get the draw, like let's say Indiana was playing the Penn State schedule that we kind of went over earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and they scheduled those 3 non-conference games. if they're not 11-1, it's embarrassing. Now, if they are 11-1, they probably still make it to the Big Ten championship game, which would guarantee them a spot, right? But
Right.
it's kind of the same way for to your point that Notre Dame.
But that's what I'm saying. Like if they had Oklahoma on their schedule, their win total wouldn't be at 10.5. They should win 11 games. It would be at 9.5.
And I would say, look, I know Notre Dame does pick their schedule, and I'm very critical of Notre Dame.
Bro, they finally went and played Big Ten teams, but it's the bottom freaking three
Now,
Big Ten
yes, but
teams.
they did choose. They do have Miami, BYU, and SMU. Now, is it
I'll
is
give it
it
to them.
yeah? Is it luck that SMU is as good and BYU are as good as they are because these games were scheduled years in advance? Yes, but they didn't know Wisconsin was going to stink either.
Yeah, that's true.
Syracuse won 10
Michigan
games. A
State.
few years
They
ago.
play Michigan State this year. Yeah.
Yeah, Syracuse won 10 games a few years ago. Now they dropped the USC game, which USC is probably super, super
I,
great for.
I'm fine with their schedule this year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the hardest, but it's not what it was last
Oh, it's
year.
not. It's not it's not hard by any means. But if they're
But at least
not
they have
11
some
and
ranked
one,
teams in there.
yeah, if they're not 11-1, um,
I'd be surprised.
they're not. They're yeah. If they're 10-2, I think they get left out. They should get left out again. To your point.
Any random thoughts?
Yeah. Here's a random thought. This is more of a I guess you could add it into the random thought, but this is called statistically speaking. So we've talked about preseason top 25. Here's a stat. Of the top 10 teams in this year's preseason AP poll, 8 of them have a returning quarterback who started for that same team last year. But over the last 2 seasons, over the last two seasons, there have been that have made the college football playoffs. I believe the number is 19 out of 24 quarterbacks to play in a that were starting for their team were first year players, not second year players. So of all these 8 teams I just mentioned, 8 out of 10, that they're going into their second full year starting. So the question is, if there's that many, you're talking. I think
It
the
was
only two
15
teams.
out of 16 in the quarterfinals, right?
Yeah, out of the quarterfinals, I think I was. It wasn't 15 out of 6. I think it was 13 out of 16. They were in there, but in the quarterfinals, 13 out of 16. It was their first year at that school. Making the playoffs as a whole was 19 out of 24, and that was their first year starting at their school. Now, the top 8 of the top 10 have returning quarterbacks in their second or third years at the program. Ironically, the only two that don't are the two that played for the national championship last year, Indiana and Miami. They have brand new quarterbacks this year. So I'm curious. We don't have to answer this now, but like, does that change this year? We can go through during the year. We'll kind of hit back on that because I think that's a super interesting statistic, especially with the transfer portal.
Right.
Just
Yeah,
seeing
that's.
like
I
you
wonder
got
what
Arch
who that.
Manning.
There's going to be one or two that get up there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
There's not
I
going to
don't.
be all in the playoffs. There's not going to be all teams that
No,
have the second year or
no.
second
Yeah.
year player.
No, you go Arch Manning, um, Dante Moore, you have Gunnar Stockton, then you got C.J. Carr,
Saying
Julian Sayin, yeah,
right,
and then
even Bryce Underwood, he's second.
yeah, 6 and 7 are Miami and Indiana being New Year's two new starters, and then 8 you're looking at Trinidad Chambliss. Um,
Oh, you're going off last year. Sorry.
yeah, I was just saying, or I'm talking about 1 through 8, 1 through 10 this year. Um, It's just I don't know who's ranked. Marcel Reed is in the top 10. I don't know who number 10 is. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Oklahoma, John Mateer.
Don Matier, there you go. Yeah. So all those guys started for their teams last year. Like, do we think that obviously you can add one more spot in there as an 11, and then you got a group of 6 that makes a playoff spot. I don't think all those are going to be in there. Obviously, it's going to shake up. I've already mentioned I don't think Ohio State makes the playoffs, but it'll be interesting to see just based off of just based off of statistics, right? 19 out of 24%. That's like 80% first year quarterbacks making the playoffs at their schools. Now, not necessarily starting, but first year at that school, right? So,
Yeah,
Sam Levitt, that's a guy you can look at. So it'll be super interesting to see how this year shakes out.
I'm pumped, dude. I'm so college football's here. But all right, I think we're gonna do shout out Josh Pate. We're gonna do Fatal Four, but we're gonna save that for next episode,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we have some
Well,
time to think about it.
yeah.
We are gonna do that. We'll explain all that. But again, TG, I'm pumped, dude. I hope you are. I love talking ball with you. I think we can grow this, and it's going to be a great podcast. So tell all your friends out there that we're doing it now. I had the Do You Know Ball challenge going on. I'm going to try to figure out a way. We're going to talk about it and figure that out. We're still going to have guests on too occasionally, but this just is makes it so much easier for us to get episodes out consistently, certain days, certain time, and it'll be on a schedule rather than me trying to get somebody on, rushing to get someone on, and all that. So we will have guests on though occasionally, and we'll go over all the sections next week on our first episode that we're going to be starting picking and then recapping. Those will be the 2 episodes. But any other thoughts, TG?
No, that's it. If you guys have something to say, I've already got a guy. I got a guy leaving me voicemails, ranting about certain football teams and certain position groups at their schools. We'll do a segment at some point. We'll play some voicemails if we can get make sure you have a mature audience to listen to it. Because the guy calling me, he was pissed about Georgia's offensive coordinator already making excuses. So when football starts, I can't wait for it to roll around. If you got a team and you got a take on your team or you're mad at your team, hey, just let us know. Leave us a voicemail. Friends
And
of the show.
we'll also put up some we'll put up the handles. Send in questions, send in rants, like he said. Call us, leave us voicemails. It'll be fun. So yeah, we've been kind of trying to get that out there locally. So he's got a guy out there that he's been going at with, and he's just calling in to give us a little rant about something. So we'll play that on here. All good.
That's it for me.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, everyone watching. I know that was a big change. We're about to switch some things up, but it's going to be for the best. I know it. I'm still going to do the giveaway at 100 subscribers. I think you can agree on that. We should do that. We'll do some giveaways throughout the year. We got to get them subscribers up. Make sure to like, comment, comment your Big Ten champion. Do something. Share with some friends. Help us out a little bit. We're trying to grow this thing. And if you want to come on, just reach out to us. I mean, anybody can come on here still. That doesn't change. He doesn't care. I don't care. But TG, again, I will see you next time. You're the number 1 on here now. So me and you, we're going to take this thing to the sunset. But I appreciate everyone watching. See you at the window. Deuces.